Happy Friday, Romanus.
What's going on, baby? How you doing?
Not too bad, all things considered. We are kind of recording in a new space today.
We're on your lovely sectional couch.
Yes, we are. Still the same apartment, but my kitchen space where we would usually be recording has had some leaking this morning, and right as we're starting recording, the maintenance dude just finished up, so we're giving this a little test run.
I'm gonna miss hearing your refrigerator turn on.
Oh, don't you worry.
Recordings.
You'll still hear it at some point.
Oh, no.
We're just in a different position, but I think we're still just as far away from it.
Isn't that your refrigerator or your freezer?
The refrigerator goes cling.
That white noise, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have caught that too.
It's just one of those things that you have as an old reliable, you know?
Something like that, yeah.
Come on. It's like when you watch Conan and the Masturbating Bear, we have the freezer that just turns on.
Back the hell up. What?
You've never seen the Conan O'Brien show?
I've seen the show, kind of.
You've never seen the Masturbating Bear?
No.
I'm not making this up.
I didn't think you were, which is why I'm so baffled by this.
I can't explain it except that there's a man in a bear suit and he's masturbating.
Is it Andy Richter?
No.
Or whoever? Okay.
Well, I've never seen Andy Richter and the Masturbating Bear in the same room, so maybe it could be.
I'm telling you.
It's like Batman. It's like who's seen Batman and Bruce Wayne
in the same room?
Never.
It makes you wonder, right?
It does.
It makes you wonder who's really out there fighting crime.
Exactly. Or masturbating.
That's that too. Well, have fun, everybody.
Or at the same time.
At the same time.
Why not?
It sounds very difficult.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I wouldn't try it.
No.
But I wouldn't do either of those things, but that's just me. Anywho, I'm assuming that you do not have any sort of prompt questions ready for us today.
I don't actually. I just thought about that.
We've been falling off. That's sad.
There hasn't been stuff that I felt like was appropriate because I could talk about the Tyler Perry lawsuit, which we probably shouldn't.
No, I don't think we need to go there.
No,
I saw something about that, but
so there's things that come up like how often do I want to talk about James Gunn or
we're gonna have plenty of time in a few weeks to talk about that.
Exactly. So movie news is just either scandals or someone, i.e. Dakota Johnson, is shitting on her movie that she did before, or
sometimes the same
movies.
thing.
Yeah. Just
sometimes it's Dakota Johnson's scandal about her shitting on a movie she just did.
Exactly. Her father playing another Ku Klux Klan member,
redneck character.
Yeah,
I love Don Johnson.
He's a method actor.
He kind of is.
Yeah,
because I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't want to finish it. When we were just talking about how now that we're doing this on my couch, and we're thinking now we're in a really good position to just do like a watch party or a reaction video to watching something and just putting something up on YouTube so people can put a face to the annoying voices that they're listening to. If we're going to be talking about James Gunn in a few weeks, we should probably get you acquainted with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh, yeah. I have not seen that movie yet.
The hell? Did your voice change?
Yeah, I just realized I was talking the wrong end of the mic. The mic was upside down.
Oh, I'm going to keep all that in.
Yeah, please.
Because this is real-time shit.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, man, we could do a watch party of Guardians Volume 3.
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right. Well, stay tuned for something that may or may not happen. If anybody out there knows us, it's that we love coming up with ideas on the fly on this podcast and then never bringing them up again.
What's the list of movies that we haven't reviewed? Let's not even talk about the episodes in general we haven't reviewed. We have
that's a whole backlog of that.
We tried to record our favorite movies list twice.
I was just thinking about that again the other day, and I was just like, the thought of the fact that we did that twice, and I just it ended up being like 3 hours 2 times.
Yep.
And the second time we did it, we were trying to avoid that, and we just ended up doing it again.
I blame you.
You should blame me.
Yeah.
That's 6 hours of time we're not going to get back, and you can blame me for the fact that I never even put in the effort to edit them.
Really?
No, I didn't. I was like, hell no, I'm not going to listen to this shit. I'm like, it was good. It was usable stuff, but I'm like, the amount of stuff I would have to take out of that, I would just feel really bad. We had I felt like we talked really well for 3 hours. It's just we're not gonna put out a 3-hour recording of our favorite films.
Who's gonna listen to it?
I wouldn't listen to it. If anybody did that, I wouldn't listen to it.
That's really too bad.
It is. Like, maybe I'll do 30 minutes of us talking about that, but there's no way I can condense 3 hours into 30 minutes and make it sound cohesive.
We should do a favorite movie series where we just maybe talk about one movie per episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Maybe that could be our like prompts before we start talking about whatever movie we're reviewing for a while.
Why not?
It's like, okay, so what's the favorite movie you want to briefly mention this week?
Mm-hmm.
Yada, yada, yada. The Grudge. I don't know.
God.
No, not
Did you see The Grudge?
I actually watched The Grudge for my first time last Halloween.
Okay, how was it?
Didn't like it.
Oh, fuck.
But I also haven't seen the Japanese original,
Mm-hmm.
Ju-on.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one, but everybody says that one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it, because it's very rare that, a foreign film that's remade by the American market is actually good.
Yeah. We often screw up Southeast Asian movies.
We're not good at all that.
Old Boy?
I know, and that's like I'm actually looking forward to Spike Lee's new movie this year
with Denzel.
Yeah, but it's like a Akira Kurosawa remake, and I'm looking forward to that because I like the cast for it and the plot still seems pretty good. But I definitely gonna watch High and Low, the Kurosawa film, before I see that one.
Yeah,
I like to make sure that I can judge the movie appropriately.
Yeah.
Unlike you, because you didn't do your homework for today.
Nope. I'm retired from homework, man.
Oh, that's real. That's real. We were supposed to be done with this kind of stuff after we graduated, right?
Exactly. But I think that even without watching the previous 28 Days Later saga movies, there's 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, right?
Yes.
Any other movies besides that?
No, there was supposed to be a 28 Months Later, and they just couldn't get that off the ground, and the series kind of died for 20 years.
Jesus. Well, we come here today because there is a 28 Years Later movie out.
Yeah.
And
almost
we both
existing in real time, too. It's
really?
been like 24 years or 25 years since the very first
That's kind of
movie.
cool.
Yeah. And, well, regardless, I mean, me and you have had this on our most anticipated, pretty high on our anticipated list of the year, so we've been looking forward to talking about this for a while.
Yes, because the trailer came out a year ago.
Yeah, like a December or something.
The trailer looked phenomenal.
Still one of the best trailers of all time. The editing, the lack of dialogue, the poem chant within it that actually is in the movie as well.
And I'm not a guy that's into zombie movies. I hate zombie movies.
That's real.
It's just
my partner's
usually
the same way.
Right?
She
Yeah.
hates zombies.
Well, it's usually just all gore and horror.
True.
And so if you're not into that kind of entertainment, then it is torture for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking the only thing I'm going into this movie for is the podcast. And I saw it this morning at 9 a.m. for the matinee. Mm-hmm. So it's me and then divorced fathers that just have nothing else to do on a Friday morning.
Yeah, probably definitely fathers.
Right? Yeah. Oh, there were no women. Actually, the mall I was in, I guess at 9 a.m. before even stores are opening, there are older women that are walking around in the mall to get their steps in for exercise because it's air conditioning.
Yeah.
Good for them. Mm-hmm. And then the guys are just sitting eating like stale popcorn and potato chips in the movie theater.
What a life.
It looks like it. That looks my future.
Yeah, you think so?
Or my present, actually.
Your present?
Yeah. At least they've done their thing, you know?
That's true. I mean, stay true. Well, I'm going to give us the intro now because good for you, though.
Thank
for you.
Put us back on track.
I'm trying. So, my name is Davis Leaf, and this is the Loose Leaf Media Podcast. I am here today with my co-host,
Romanus.
And today we are talking about the collaborative effort return film of both Danny Boyle and Alex Garland with 28 Years Later. And this is Alex Garland, or no, not Alex Garland, excuse me, Danny Boyle's first film in 6 years now. So he's been off the grid for a while. Mm-hmm. He's kind of coming out of retirement, making a new movie. Alex Garland has just kind of been taking the reins on his own career for quite a while, like going steady since Ex Machina. Mm-hmm. And he's had like 2 movies where he's been part of the writing team released this year now. One was Warfare only a couple months ago, and now we have this. So this is an exciting time to see somebody who's really made a name for themselves in the directorial community like Alex Garland has, and Danny Boyle coming out of the woodwork to return to an old franchise for himself with his old former writing partner. And you saw it this morning. I saw it last night. Do you have a summary for us at all?
I do.
Lovely.
A group of survivors of the rage virus live on a small island. When one of the group leaves the island on a mission into the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors. Davis, what did you think of 28 Years Later?
Well, if you'll allow me, I have done about 28 years of research regarding this movie at this point.
And you're only
28 years
27,
of homework.
so no, I'm kidding.
That's true. That's true. Like, who knew, right?
Yeah.
Who knew I was such a fan of this series? But me and my brother actually kind of grew up really, really loving and admiring the first movie, 28 Days Later. We watched it many times. I even recall a period where some of the senior classes in high school just got to take days off, and they would just watch movies in some of their teachers' classes, and one of our science teachers decided to show 28 Days Later in that class. Now, this wasn't the first time we had seen the movie, but it was just exciting to get together with some of your classmates and watch this cult classic from the early 2000s. And so we sat there and we watched this movie, and we're like, God, this is so good. And we've watched it many times since, and I rewatched that movie before and over the last week for this podcast, and yeah, it holds up. It's a pretty incredible zombie movie. A lot of people know that movie as kind of being able to introduce like sprinting zombies into fiction and cinema, because before that, zombies were, the slow walkers, and they would move, that very George A. Romero style of zombie making movies. And then a few years later, the follow-up would come out 28 Weeks Later, which I didn't see that in theaters either. I saw that when it was just released on DVD at the time, when that was a thing. And
For real.
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit when it came out, but after rewatching it this last week, I did not enjoy it very much. I was not too happy with 28 Weeks Later. Just a myriad of plot holes throughout it, and because we're living in a post-pandemic world, I feel like I'm a little bit more inclined to criticize some of the protocols and procedures that the government would take in terms of reconstructing a society after a huge outbreak would happen. And I'm just sitting here like, this is stupid. Everybody in this movie is so fucking stupid and making the dumbest decisions possible. But one thing that's pretty collectively thought of when it comes to 28 Weeks Later is the opening 10 minutes is one of the greatest openings to a movie. It's super intense, high octane, fast pace, crazy camera work, all the stylistic qualities that 28 Days Later has. And everybody's kind of held that opinion pretty high, that opening of 28 Weeks Later is just as good as any of the movie of 28 Days Later. And today, in my research, I figured out why everybody loves that opening of 28 Weeks Later, and it's because Danny Boyle directed only the first 10 minutes of that movie. And then it's a new director named, I don't remember his name, Juan something, but there's also like fucking 4 writers on 28 Weeks Later, and there's only Alex Garland on the writing team for 28 Days Later. So you can sense that there's a lot of ideas being tossed around with 28 Weeks Later, and none of it's really coming together. They kind of Americanized the movie entirely by bringing the military-industrial complex into the plot, and Jeremy Renner and Idris Elba are there, and it's just like, okay. Rose Byrne is there too.
Rose Byrne,
who was a lead character actually in Sunshine, the second movie that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle collaborated on, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So it's just like, a little nod, little reference there to their work, but also there's an attempt with Weeks to kind of replicate the style of Danny Boyle, but it's just not fully there. And there's good ideas, and there's good sequences in the movie, but the script is just a fucking mess. Having said that, I've always been dreaming of the day that we would get a sequel. So this was a very long time coming for me, and I'm very, very, very happy to say that this movie did not disappoint for me on pretty much any regard. I loved this movie 28 years later. This is probably my second favorite movie of the year now, right after Sinners. And they both share something in common, hilariously, that we can get into with the spoiler section.
Okay, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, you definitely caught it, but you might not have noticed it.
Yeah, I'm wondering what this could be.
It has something to do with the very ending of the movie.
Okay, then I need to. Oh, I know what you're referring to. I just don't know what the connection is.
We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. But I love this movie. I have nothing but great things to say about it. Romanus, how did you feel about this?
Yeah, I wanted to, even before I say how I feel about it, ask you, what does a zombie movie fan enjoy about zombie movies? Because as an outsider, I like movies with good stories, but is it just that like zombie attacks are a different form of action and suspense? Like what draws you into a movie like 28 Days Later?
That is a good question. That was another part of my criticisms with 28 Weeks Later, actually, is that the movie just kind of dissolves the notion of there being any sort of like a grounded, human-driven story in favor of more action and more gore. Okay. Oh my God, the gore in 28 Weeks Later is so egregious because there's no story that's happening along with it, too. There's a lot of pretty gruesome violence in 28 Days Later, but it's kind of more happening in service to the story, which I think Danny Boyle had been asked that question in an interview recently and said that specifically, that if you're not employing these technical qualities into your movie that are meant to be there to service the story rather than to just be like a gimmick, then what is really the point of being a filmmaker or a storyteller for that reason? And I think he's absolutely right about that. There's always going to be exceptions, but I think if you're going to make a sequel to such a cult favorite like 28 Days Later, you got to do something more than just add more guts and gore and crazy technical wizardry and then just completely allow the script to fall flat on its face. And so what drives me to... I can't really say that I'm a huge fan of zombie films.
Yeah.
Like, because they became so oversaturated with the George A. Romero era of like the 70s and 80s and 90s. And then there was that resurgence that really happened when The Walking Dead started to air, which was a very good show. Because, I mean, all of the zombie elements of it are all fantastic and really well done, but because it's such a human-driven story and it's really about the people more than anything, that's what made that show really good for a number of years and brought some new layers to this post-apocalyptic zombie world that they're trying to portray in that. And so what really just drives me is just what draws me to a zombie film is just what you can do when deconstructing human nature, when there's such a huge shift in society, and whatever that may be, nuclear fallout, war, or some sort of an outbreak, an alien invasion or a robocalypse. And when it comes to something like zombies, it's like it brings out some of the most animalistic qualities in humans. And the first movie in the third act of itself does that so fucking well because it's like Alex Garland's writing with these movies. It's not jarring, but it's like a very unpredictable turn of events that happens. And 28 Years Later does the same thing, where it is constantly shifting your perspective and your like what you're expecting as well. And I think what 28 Years Later really accomplishes, for one of many things, is its ability to allow you to connect to its characters, but you're existing in a world that you don't even fully understand. Because this is also a movie where there is very little exposition given to anything that's really going on here. And it just wants to bring you into this world and introduce you to the people that are living in this world and allow for you to understand what their lives are like. And you get a really good sense of who these people are and what kind of world they are existing in, too, even outside the context of the other films.
Yeah, I also really loved this movie. As a person who's not a fan of zombie movies in general, haven't seen the other 28 Days, 28 Weeks Later movies, I love this movie for the human aspect that you were just talking about. You see these characters, you are just dropped into this world where it is far distant we're far removed from common human civilization, right?
Mm-hmm.
These people are quarantined on this island, and they have created their own community. And so even with 28 years, which isn't a long time for just human history,
Mm-hmm.
but you see there's a new generation of people who didn't grow up with the internet, didn't grow up with cell phones, don't know, they've never had a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They, just there's all these things that, oh wow, we took for granted just because these are things that we just know in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But in this imaginary world where, okay, like they look like us, they speak the same language as us,
Mm-hmm.
but in this zombie world where they've been disconnected from the outside world in the UK, it's just a very interesting commentary, not commentary, but just a interesting world that the writers and directors have created.
Please go on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really into what you're saying right now.
I think there's just certain themes, there's certain human themes in storytelling that still remain true even in this post-apocalyptic world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the main theme was family and loyalty,
Huge
and
component.
death, right?
Death, huge component. Of
Three
this
huge
movie.
components, right? And so also the other thing, I think, let's just start on the main strengths, the performances.
Yeah.
Everybody
Exceptional.
kills.
Yeah. Even some of
Everybody.
the minor characters that just kind of appear briefly.
Yeah.
Like there's that soldier character that they interact with halfway
Yeah.
through the movie. First of all,
Edvin Riding.
Yeah,
He plays Eric.
he adds like a really good amount of humor
Yeah.
in the movie. Honestly, I didn't think it needed it, but I kind of desperately did for some levity at that point because there's no sense of humor up until he kind of appears in the movie.
No.
But his character also introduces some of the first background information you actually get into the story.
Yeah.
Like this movie, like I said, is pretty much expositionless. You don't know what the hell's really going on here. You just know that these people are living in it. Then this guy comes in and says, this is what's going on with the rest of the world, and this is where we're at. Look at this picture. And I'm just like, this movie kind of needed this guy right now.
And the picture that you're describing, just so that the joke lands in the theater, we won't say it, but
Yeah.
it is so fucking funny.
It was hilarious.
It is, and really, what's happening is that this soldier who comes from a place where the rage virus hasn't gone to, and people aren't sick.
Yeah.
This soldier is showing this kid a phone for the first time. Like, kid doesn't even
He's
know what a phone
introduced to
is.
technology.
Exactly. And so it looks at this picture, and the kid has a completely innocent reaction to this picture, and it creates this just huge moment of levity in the movie.
Biggest laugh that my theater got,
Yeah.
honestly.
And by the way, we should just go on and talk about the actors themselves.
The whole cast, yeah.
So, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is just been in a ton of movies lately.
He's been killing it, and he still is. He's fantastic in this movie.
He plays Jamie, who's the father of Spike, played by Alfie Williams, and
Best performance of the movie, in my
Hands
opinion.
down.
He is exceptional.
and they are both prominent in the trailer, but actually Alfie is the headliner.
He's the lead character.
He's the lead character in
And
the movie.
Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of dips out after the first act of the movie, kind
Yeah.
of. Like, but even with the character moments that you get with him, you get a lot of information about him.
Yes.
Like, some pretty interesting and some pretty bad. Like, not bad in terms of writing, but there's some shady qualities about him in this movie that are really introduced, and it's very interesting.
And you are learning these shady qualities from the perspective of Spike.
Yeah.
And it does give you just the perspective of a child who is coming of age, right? So he's 12 years old and he wants to be a hunter. And there's many jobs in this community. Like, you can be a fisherman, you can be a hunter, you can be a craftsman, you can be a teacher.
Yep.
He wants to be a hunter like his father. And hunters usually go out of their island community.
They go to the mainland.
They go to the
where,
mainland.
like, all of the infected are still roaming around.
Exactly.
I love the tide bridge.
Yeah,
they have.
yeah.
What a cool detail in the production design.
Yeah,
it
so
looks awesome.
For the audience, the tide bridge during high tide is covered, and then low tide, obviously, you can walk on the bridge, and so it's a nice defense mechanism from the infected.
It's
zombies.
like almost nature protecting this community a little bit too.
It's also just it's this community that has to lean on nature, right? And they have to lean on these very almost medieval tactics in order to survive because they don't have access to guns or technology.
Like they're using arrows for hunting. Everything's very archaic, which is like there's like a more specific explanation you could give with like maybe using guns could draw too much attention to the infected or something, but it's also meant to kind of safeguard this community too. Yeah. And it's just like they're relying on a lot more of these archaic practices for survival.
Yeah. And I also, just to cut in, I like how they splice different scenes from medieval movies of like, you know, old Englishmen, knights shooting arrows.
When the sequence of the movie where we do get to hear that World War I poem being recited is when we are starting to see that.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment in the movie where it just instantly sunk in for me. I'm like, I think I'm watching something really special right now. This is super hyper creative. The writing is fantastic, and goddamn if I missed Danny Boyle's style of directing.
It was amazing. But yeah, so Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, takes his son out, Spike, to the mainland, and they're hunting zombies. And Spike is 12 years old, but we're seeing this coming of age story. Like before they go to the mainland, it is.
It really is a coming of age story.
It's a coming of age story, but in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. And I feel so strongly about this movie because I like the development of of Spike from the beginning to the end. At the beginning, he's got this like Power Ranger action figure, and he is. I know why you're looking at that. I know. We're gonna get to that. We are gonna get to that. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it.
Okay.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to it.
Okay.
We're gonna get to it. I love you.
I love you. That's incredible.
Yes, because I know exactly what you're thinking of.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're thinking
Hell
of.
yeah.
Yes. Give me some.
Give me some.
We're dabbing each other.
That's good.
That was
That's
awesome.
Good.
Yes. We're killing it.
Y'all are gonna figure this out. Don't worry. Hang tight.
He has this Red Ranger action figure on his bed before he goes to the mainland, and he's looking at the Power Ranger before he gets out of bed, debating if he should take it or not with his on his trip to his father to the mainland, and he says, "Nah, I'll leave it."
That was a very specific directorial decision that I loved so much in this movie, and you get a lot of moments like that, where like almost like they're bypassing cliches.
Yeah.
That's why I call the movie so unpredictable, because it's just like not wanting to stick to so many conventional filmmaking rules in terms of character development.
It subverts your expectations in many interesting ways, and I'll even say the trailer advertises like this very like just mysterious like monster. Just like it felt the movie's different from the trailer. The impression I got from the trailer is that these two are going to be on the run constantly.
Yeah, and they're going to like be trapped out on the mainland for the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's not what it's like at all.
It's not what it's like at all. But and even just in the movie, okay, we'll get to other stuff. Okay, so they go on this hunt, and there's things that Spike is learning about his father, Jamie, that he almost falls out of love with his father. Like
there's some serious disillusionment that happens.
Yeah.
But it's a great, also, testament to the direction. It's a great moment where you pivot from the development between Jamie and his father, or I'm sorry, Alfie and Aaron Taylor Johnson, to Alfie and Jodie Comer.
Yes.
From that point in the movie.
Jodie Comer, who was in The Bike Riders last year.
Like almost a year ago.
Movie that we love.
Yeah, so much. We reviewed that almost exactly a year ago, too.
Yeah.
So I think if time is good to us, we'll get a new Jodie Comer movie every single June going forward.
I hope so.
Jodie June.
She was also really good in this movie.
She is exceptional in this movie. And she is excellent.
Jodie Comer plays the mother of Spike, Isla.
Yes.
Isla, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Isla. So, and Isla is sick. we don't know what's going on with her, but she has memory issues.
There's a lot of background information that's slowly revealed about her character throughout the movie.
Yes. And so it eventually goes from the disillusionment that Spike feels seeing his father, certain behaviors, certain things that he sees while he's on his trip into the mainland.
Certain
and then,
things that his father influences him to do.
Exactly.
Certain things that his father even does to him.
Yes. And then the movie comes from, goes to, okay, Spike wants to figure out what's wrong with his mother. He's been, sort of the experience going into the mainland has empowered him to find out if there's a way to cure his mother. And there's some interesting things that go on with that. But going back to the coming of age story, I really believed in many ways in this development of Spike from a 12-year-old boy to at least, like, I'm gonna go ahead and say a person who is adept in surviving in this atmosphere. Like he's learning and adapting and growing. And at first I think, wow, this is some really dumb shit that these characters are doing. But I say, you know what? This kid, he's still 12 years old. He's still impressionable. He still isn't in control of all of his emotions. So he's going to make mistakes. And eventually we reach a point in the movie where they run into Ralph Fiennes' character, who plays Dr. Ian Kelson. Fucking fantastic.
He's incredible in this movie. One of the best supporting performances I've ever seen from him.
And I think his part of the movie is my favorite part of the movie. Because, again, it subverts expectations. So
hugely. It's the most subverting of expectations that this movie offers.
The way that he's sort of described is this doctor who is very weird, very crazy, and he has a part of the mainland that no one goes to, hasn't been there for like 13 years, and people just avoid him. They don't talk about him. And there's a part of the movie where the way they talk about him is almost like the character from Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah, Marlon Brando's character. Yeah.
Where it's like the whole movie they're talking about Marlon Brando's character, and then you're traveling, you're on...
Great comparison. I feel like there's got to be some qualities about his character that were intentionally drawn from, what is his name? Kurtz?
Kurtz from, Colonel Kurtz, right?
Kurtz from Apocalypse Now.
It feels like that. Like they're both bald and they're both like painted.
Yeah, they're both bald. They're both painted. Yeah. They're kind of shadowed with like fire lighting. Campfire lighting.
One of the best shots in this movie. Half of Ralph Fiennes' face in like the fire.
And he's kind about the Memento Mori.
Yes, yeah.
And that's got to have been like kind of an intentional Apocalypse Now reference, right?
Yes, and I will just say he's not at all what I think of just a man who is surviving by himself in a zombie apocalypse. Just constantly surrounded by zombies. I'm constantly thinking that, okay, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's something
he's going to be an antagonist in something.
And
which is very common for Ralph Fiennes too, as an actor too, where he can get typecast as an antagonistic character. But one more thing that this movie subverts your expectations on, he's seemingly kind of one of the more level-headed and tolerant characters in the movie.
I loved that.
Same.
I loved how you think that this kid doesn't know what he's doing, and he is getting himself in trouble. He's going to get himself killed. He's going to get, his loved ones killed. But he meets up with this doctor, and there ends up being a lesson, and the movie sort of like it finds a lesson that we learn with Spike, how all of the adults in his life coming of age, but not even just that. Like, what does it mean to come of age? What does it mean to get some critical consciousness?
Sure.
Like, the truth is, when we grow up, adults often hide the truth from us, maybe with good intentions, maybe bad intentions, but it robs us of trusting them.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that Spike is being robbed of is accepting that he's losing his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And that prolongs his grief, that prolongs his confusion.
And his dad is a product of that too.
Exactly.
Which is like you find out certain characteristics about his behavior in the earlier parts of the movie, but then it adds a new context to it by the end.
Yeah.
As to why he was exhibiting these behaviors.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it necessarily excusable, but as the character that has been in that more, grieving and accepting stage that his father was for the first half of the movie, without Spike or the audience really knowing that, you can go back and watch the movie and notice this is why he's behaving the way that he is. This is why he's so closed off.
Yeah.
He's so strong-willed, essentially.
Yeah.
Almost trying to be, always trying to act a little bit more masculine than he really needs to be in order to hide these emotions that he's feeling. And you see a breaking point with Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, shortly after he kind of leaves the movie.
Yeah.
And you can sense that there's something seriously wrong with him that has to do with his wife that Spike doesn't know about. Mm-hmm. And it's really heartbreaking, honestly. The third act of this movie is honestly pretty tragic and sad. But it's like you said, there's a very strong lesson to be learned from it, and one of the biggest themes of this movie is death and grief.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that like to explore that these days, especially in the horror genre. Mm-hmm. But I think that this movie exercises that exploration in such an original way, in such a subversive way, that I just feel like I haven't seen anybody do in a long time.
I didn't expect to get that level of storytelling in a zombie movie.
I know.
Because can we just go to spoilers?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk. I want to talk about a couple of the technical elements of this movie too, because I honestly think that there's a lot to discuss with that as well, because this movie is very unconventionally filmed as well.
Yeah.
I would like to say that it almost takes a Steven Soderbergh approach, but not exactly. It's just kind of Danny Boyle doing Danny Boyle. Steven Soderbergh, several years back, when I think when he made the movie Unsane, I don't know if you ever saw that movie with Claire Foy.
No.
It's a good movie, but he started this trend of shooting movies on an iPhone, and ever since then, a large portion of the movies that Soderbergh has made have been shot on iPhones.
Okay.
He loves doing it. Granted, he is one kind of known as the godfather of independent cinema filmmaking of the 21st century. But I would also argue that Danny Boyle belongs in that category as well, because this guy he's an innovator, and he's a futurist, and he likes to try new tricks with his editing and his camera work in almost every movie that he does. The last movie that Boyle had done, Yesterday, wasn't especially unique. To be totally honest, it was not really that great of a movie in my opinion. But it was fun. But it was nice to see him come back and say, you thought you still knew who I was? Oh, I'm going to show you something that you've never seen before in a movie. And this movie is shot with IMAX, or not IMAX, I wish, 15 Max iPhone, some of which are rigged up. Yeah. And kind of almost half rotating some of the shots that they're looking at. And he does these really cool editing tricks with bullet time in his movie too. So you see an infected person get shot, and the camera almost slows down, and it'll edit the impact from a different angle almost. Yeah. And then you'll get a very one frame that freezes. Yeah. And it looks so cool and so intense. And I'm sure that you've heard a little bit about how the original film was shot.
Yeah, with old cameras.
Yeah, I used a camcorder with 480p, and so the resolution just looks like garbage. But the movie is intended to look like that, to give it this very documentary style realism to it, which is almost kind of surrealism in that way,
like guerrilla cinematography in a way.
Kind of, yeah. And this movie kind of has that same element to it, but it updates it for the contemporary era, where you have obviously a very high resolution that the movie is being shot on, but it feels like it's somebody in the real world that went to this island and is filming it on their phone. It's edited really well, obviously, and there's a lot of different things that the movie does with the editing in terms of some of the flashbacks of the medieval times. We have these red tinted shots of the infected just kind of looking up with their glowing eyes at the camera, which are just terrifying. It's like red screen, but like it's like night vision red screen almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's terrifying imagery. Like it looks fantastic though.
And you're kind of wondering what those are like. Are they like when it first comes up? Are they human? Because it's red tinted, so you don't see the blood.
Exactly.
But then you see what they're doing, and it's okay. Yeah, those are zombies. It is scary.
It's incredibly scary. It's like they're very haunting images, almost like you've walked in, like you're on a ghost hunter show or something.
Yeah.
So this movie looks incredible, and the visual elements and the camera work with the iPhone rigs and the drone shots as well.
The drone shots were great,
incredible in this movie, and Danny Boyle is shooting this movie in a very unconventional style that I don't even think Soderbergh has been able to capture when shooting his movies with iPhones. He usually uses a lot of still frame camera work when he shoots his movies on iPhone, where this movie, the camera is moving. It's really moving around with the characters. It's very chaotic at times, too. Again, with those drone shots, you get some pretty impressive aerial visuals. And the way that this movie edits itself together really just lands to, like, the contrast and tone between the first two movies as well. Because every single one of these movies have very vapidly different tones, I would say. And just the tones, the tone, the visuals, and the narrative are so starkly different in this movie than they are in the last two. But still, it feels contiguous, like it's part of this same world. And so I just really wanted to give a really good shout out to how this movie was shot, because it looks fucking incredible. Yeah. And it's one of the best shot movies, honestly, I would say, of the current decade. It looks really, really good. And seeing this in theaters, if you can, would definitely bring a lot of those visuals out. I was fortunate enough to be able to go and check this movie out on the Dolby AMC screen in Georgetown. So they had that laser vision that they were doing for it, and it looked absolutely spectacular.
Awesome.
Huge shout out to the sound work in this movie too. The sound sounds great.
The sound work was amazing. There's one scene where Spike is trying to kill his first zombie, and it's very, very subtle, but you can hear his heartbeat, and it creates this tension. And there's another thing in the background that is also creating tension.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it is that scene was well done.
So it's like you get the perspective of the character, but it's also mirroring what the audience should kind of be feeling with the tension building up, and it all sounds great. There's a lot of great sound work with the sounds of the infected as well. Absolutely. Of the rage virus. They sound terrifying, and everything the movie does with the visuals of the infected and the noises that they make are just absolutely spectacular. They are terrifying creatures.
Oh yeah, there's the fat ones that are just crawling. The alphas.
Ooh boy,
man!
I drew a lot of comparisons in this movie that I didn't expect to I Am Legend, actually, in terms of its way of handling some of the infected and the decisions. But I think this movie, where I Am Legend, people have debated, like, are they zombies or are they vampires? Really?
Okay.
I don't know, because they don't come out at night, and I don't know, but with this movie, I think it's I don't remember where I was going with this, but they are terrifying.
Well, I was gonna say, like, the first time they see quote unquote an alpha is like it's silhouette on a horizon, so the sun is setting and the setting is behind the alpha on this hill and it's far away, so you see just this big zombie that's big compared to like the tree next to it. And it's just standing, and it's you can tell it's watching them from the other side of this savannah, and it is fucking scary.
It's always just this lurking threat.
Yeah,
and it is persistent throughout the entire movie too.
It's predatory,
and which is another huge theme that we haven't talked too much about in this movie, which I also think is kind of evolution. How you see that these, which I also think is a huge point that this movie is trying to make with the infected, especially, where it's like you kind of, with the archaic practices of the humans now that are living in this world, you can kind of sense some regression in their evolution. Not that they're becoming more animalistic necessarily or more primal, but they are relying on more like primal hunting and gathering practices.
Yeah, arrows.
And you sense that the infected, after 28 years later, are evolving and becoming a lot smarter. And I like honestly watching the first two movies doesn't fully contextualize that even because like like the first movie, there's very little exposition that's being given to what the hell's going on here. But the second movie does add a layer. 28 Weeks Later adds a layer that is interesting, which is at what before Reconstruction begins building, they specify that after several weeks, the infected died of starvation. And so that's why they began the Reconstruction process of getting citizens back into their homes after society had collapsed. And this movie kind of answers that question that I had while watching this movie, which is if the infected are known to die of starvation, how the hell are there anyone still alive? But they answer two things. One, there's actually a lot of fresh meat that's roaming around on this island that they are constantly hunting because now the infected are becoming organized. And if they're becoming organized, it means that they're learning to hunt with one another. And you can see that they actually are employing hunting tactics. When they're attacking some of the large deer and elk that are kind of traveling along the hills, and even when the soldiers make land at one point, the way that they're attacked, it's like they're being hunted essentially.
Well, even the ones that crawl are eating worms. So there's a hierarchy. You see the lowest of the low literally crawling on the ground.
It's like the infected have created their own little society for themselves too, in terms of like the dominants and the recessives.
It's animalistic.
It is very animalistic. It is primal in that way, and I found those details and qualities that Danny Boyle emphasizes in this movie to be very, very, very clever. And just not the same old zombies that you've seen before.
No.
These zombies actually have evolved and mutated much like a real virus would.
Wow, yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, let's talk about some spoilers here.
Let's get into some spoilers.
Transitioning into spoilers. So, spoilers. Jodie Comer has cancer.
Yes.
That's the big kind of reveal of what's happening with her in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you think it could be dementia. Like, you definitely know that she's losing her memory. She's very erratic, almost manic. And the whole time, Spike is wondering what's wrong with Mom. Why can't we heal her? And the truth is they don't have a doctor to even diagnose her. And so he learns about that there is this doctor that is not too far away within the mainland, or at least not as, now that he's been in the mainland, he knows where he can go.
Yes.
And so after having this argument with his father, who he just completely becomes de-lionized in the eyes of Spike.
Good word.
Yeah, like
good choice of word.
Well, because it turns out that not only is Jamie embellishing the truth a bit with, Spike's, first trip into the mainland. He's cheating on his wife that's sick.
Which, like, the minute that happens, first of all, you mentioned that, like, you really only see that through the perspective of Spike.
Yeah.
Which is, like, it's so good how much this movie manages to maintain that, like, childlike innocence in its perspective and direction.
And it maintains it, but then it crushes it.
It's
and
hurtful.
We feel terrible.
It is hurtful. Like, it would be different. Like, it would still be super fucked up and shady, but the emotional gut punch of it all would not have hit as hard if you were following the character of Jamie as he's doing these things.
Yeah.
And that was the first moment in the movie where I realized it's like, I don't think I'm watching a zombie movie. I think this is very slowly turning into a family drama.
It is. Also. It is.
And I fucking love this shit. This is really good storytelling and so much more human than I expected this movie to be. It's like, this is just talking about some real crazy shit that's going on in this family and the breakdown of it all. Yeah. It's like you are literally just witnessing this child growing up in an apocalyptic world watch his family tear itself apart.
I did love that during the movie, because the last half of the movie is Spike taking his mother, escaping the island, and taking her to see this doctor, right?
Yes.
And we I just really enjoyed Spike's struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And he has some successes, he has some failures while, you know, exploring the mainland on his way to, you know, finding this doctor who's he thinks is going to heal his mother, right?
Yes.
He thinks that there's something wrong with mom, but if I take her to this doctor, then everything's going to be okay. So on one hand, he is growing up, right? He feels empowered to go through the mainland, which is this adult decision.
Yeah.
But the just the ignorance that he has as a child that doesn't really know much about the world, that doesn't know about cancer because he never had to learn it. Like there's this constant balance between immaturity and maturity,
and that's what makes the catharsis so hard to take in, even as an audience member, because he is making these very adult-like decisions, taking some initiative in his life, foregoing any sort of expectations that his father might have of him, and trying to solve this problem that he himself comes to realize that he never fully understood, and that there was no real solving of this problem.
And so the other thing, at the beginning of the movie, before they go on their trip, when Jamie and Spike go on their trip, the elder of the village says, by the way, if you're lost out there, the number one rule is nobody will come out there and get you.
Nobody can come get you.
And
there's no rescue team. There's no help. But you are on your own.
You're on your own.
Much like life.
Exactly.
It's like leaving the nest.
Exactly.
You're on your own. You can't expect anybody to come and help you out.
Thank you, handsome.
Thank you.
So during the movie, when Spike is out there with Isla, his mother, and they're all alone, I'm thinking, are they gonna at least cut to Jamie and the village to like show us that they're worried?
I thought about that too.
But no,
they don't do that shit.
They don't. And you know what? It doesn't matter. They're not gonna rescue. That's the number one rule.
And the movie just doesn't want to detract from fucking Spike's point of view.
Exactly. And that's
commitment to its craft, really.
That is also real life. When you leave the nest, it don't matter what the fuck is going on in other people's minds back home.
Exactly.
You are on your own. You have to figure it out, and it can be.
You got to problem solve. You got to improvise.
It's on you, and it could be going to college for the first time, or fucking being in a zombie apocalypse. Like it is just true. Whenever you leave, you are on your own.
Yes,
and I really just I loved that part of the storytelling in this movie where we're thinking, Jamie's played by this famous actor. Of course, he's like the main part of the trailer. He's going to be the star of the movie. No, Spike is the star of the movie, and his story is super engaging. Agreed. Because not only does he have to face the death of his mother, he has to face the death of himself as a child.
Yes,
in this world.
Well said.
Right, like he has to face gore, death,
trauma. Yeah.
The just seeing who his father really is.
Yeah.
Or seeing what his family really is, right? Seeing
what this world really is.
The introducing infidelity to your kids really breaks their idea of what the family is.
Absolutely.
Whatever you said the family was before, it's done.
It's not like that.
It's not like that. So
and that can stick with you for the rest of your life and haunt even your children.
Yeah. And by the end of the movie, you do believe, okay, man, Spike has changed.
Yeah.
He's not the same. He is standing on his own, almost.
Until the very, very, very end of the movie.
But before we get to that, I want to talk about Ralph Fiennes again.
Yes, and I'd like to touch on the baby a little bit too.
Let's just go to that first.
Yeah, because that's kind of a big part of this movie.
That's a big part of this fucking movie series.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. You see a pregnant zombie in a river at one point, and then later in
which
the movie,
it's like at first like I didn't really question it when I definitely should have.
Yeah.
And then things are made a little bit more clear. One more reason why I kind of relate this to I Am Legend, because that was kind of a thing in I Am Legend, where the superior zombies were essentially mating, and that is happening in this movie.
Yes.
That is so fucking crazy.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yes.
It is nuts.
And what's even more nuts is the child is uninfected.
Yeah. I kind of love it.
I love it too.
I just like this new spin on the zombie lore, and I also like the interaction between Isla, who we don't know what sickness that she has yet. She could be like could have dementia. We don't know, but she's definitely confused. She's not cogent.
Yep.
She's not a sane adult right now.
Absolutely.
And she's having this. She's almost like the what do you call the people that deliver babies with like in like home settings?
Fucking. I know.
The women that listen to this pod are gonna be
mother?
like, well, maybe I don't know.
I don't.
Jesus.
I was just watching Severance, and they like named this word like several times.
Yeah.
In it. The fuck is the name of it?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna be so mad later.
I am too. Well, anywho,
I know what you're talking about. Though,
well,
yeah.
she helps this zombie deliver a baby. Like this zombie's having is in labor.
Yes.
And Isla
holy
approaches the zombie,
shit.
and they just have this connection. I guess motherhood is the connection.
Yeah.
And they're holding hands. She is holding hands with the zombie.
Which was that moment is crazy. And like, I'm literally like, what is
And the
happening?
zombie is crowning. And the zombie pushes again, and Isla...
And then she just delivers this fucking baby.
Exactly. And Isla looks at the baby, looks at the eyes. The eyes aren't red. It's a healthy baby. And she, like, pours water on and washes the blood off of it. It is insane.
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
I loved every second of it.
I did too.
Holy shit.
I'm very curious to see where this goes to.
Right.
Because they introduce, this is why I keep bringing up 28 Weeks Later a lot. Because there's too much of an influx of plot in that movie. But they introduce some good ideas for this world. It just never comes together very well.
Yeah.
But they do introduce the concept of a carrier. One who has no symptoms whatsoever of the virus, but can carry it still through blood and saliva transmissions. And I'm wondering if they may bring that back with the baby, where the baby may be a carrier, but not actually show signs of the infection. But also the carrier in Weeks still had, like, eyes that were off, too.
Yeah.
So you could tell that they were infected. They just didn't have real, like, rage symptoms. So it might be completely different now, but I'm very fascinated to see where this goes, because now the zombies are also mating and can deliver children that are uninfected. So whatever that means for this world, bizarre.
The other thing, too.
Bizarre concepts.
The other thing, too, the baby has a father, and the father's, I guess, is an alpha.
Yes.
And the alpha follows them while they're carrying the baby, and I wonder if that's going to come up eventually in the movie.
I would imagine so,
right?
yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Because we know that wherever this next movie goes, it's actually going to be crazy, and the way that this movie ends is the way that it kind of begins too. Because this movie opens with something that it doesn't kind of follow up with until like the last 2 minutes of the movie. And the way, after you mention this thing, the way that they make this call come together is so unbelievably good and brilliant. It literally is like, God damn it. Danny Boyle, Alex Garland, you fucking geniuses, you. Yeah. Please tell me what happens.
So
because I don't think you noticed the thing that I noticed about the ending too, that has a connection with Sinners.
Okay. So Spike is, doing his thing, and he gets chased by these I was about to say aliens, these zombies, and he runs into this guy who seems like completely out of a different movie. It just like he's wearing gold jewelry, and he's in this like Adidas jumpsuit, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if we cut in?" And he's got his friends. They've all got weapons, and they just start jumping around doing karate and shit. And they're all in jumpsuits in different colors. Almost like, I don't know, Power Rangers.
Fucking Power Rangers.
And they're even the action, like they are like doing these karate moves. It does remind me of a Power Rangers.
It is like the camera angles and the shots. I'm just like, this is the biggest 180 in tone that this movie has taken at this point. And then, boom, cut to credits. Yeah. And I don't know if this means anything too, but I think it's funny how the kid that we see, who's wearing the necklace that his pastor father had given him right before
he was upside down.
Yep, right before he had been killed by the infected, as the outbreak was starting. Also, all of his sisters were watching the Teletubbies.
Yeah,
who also are a bunch of different color schemes and things like that too. I don't know. It's a little bit loose, but I don't know. There's something going on there. But did you know who that actor was that played that guy? That was
the vampire from Sinners?
Yes, that was Jack O'Connell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Remick from Sinners.
No kidding.
And I was like, what the fuck?
That guy's having an interesting...
He's having a good fucking year right now.
He has to be careful because he's going to be typecast as crazy white people in horror movies.
Genre horror.
Yeah.
Vampire horror, zombie horror.
Yeah.
He's going to hit up aliens next.
He's going to be the Mummy, Wolfman.
He could just play every character in the Dark Universe that failed.
What? Oh, damn. Something Tom Cruise couldn't do.
Something Tom Cruise could not do. You're absolutely right about that. But that was, when you mentioned that Power Rangers thing, I was like, I thought about it in my head, but I forgot about the action figure completely. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to briefly regain a little bit of his innocence because this crazy group of people are out here killing the infected. And the next movie's probably going to be crazy. Like, probably going to prove that these guys are some sort of religious zealots or something.
I mean... Even if we go back to the coming of age, like even though you might grow up, you're still gonna run into immature adults.
Yep.
And so I feel like
called the second coming of age.
Yeah. Why not?
But I know the next one, it comes out in January.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's a different director, right?
Nia DaCosta is directing it.
What else has she done?
She did a really excellent independent movie called Little Woods.
Okay.
With Tessa Thompson and Lily James.
Okay.
Which not enough people have seen it, but it's fucking great. And then she did the Candyman remake.
Okay.
Or requel.
Okay.
And it's got like a whole new production team, but Alex Garland is still returning as the writer for it.
Yeah.
And I think she's a spectacular director, and I'm very interested to see what she's going to do with this film, but you can tell just by those last 2 minutes it's going to be a different tone. It's going to be a very much different movie.
It's already been shot, and so I guess it's in editing. Probably get the trailer in the next few months.
Probably pretty soon, yeah. So I'm excited for that. It'll be one of my more anticipated ones of next year.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to know that there's going to be like a fresh take on it too, where it's just like our instant follow-up will be like visually and directorially different. But I'm still not really worried about the writing, which is a good thing too, because it'll make or break your movie no matter what. So yeah, that's kind of all I got, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I think with more watches with this movie, I'll have a lot more thoughts on it and new interpretations and new things that I'll notice because it's like that.
I would love to go see it again.
I'm planning to on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, I got to rush back to the theater to see this shit because this was fucking good. And yeah, it's been a good year for a good summer, really, for movies so far.
Oh, yeah.
I've been having a great time at the movies.
Yeah.
And this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. It's like very high on my list, I would say.
I would have to agree. And even though I was excited to see it, I didn't know how much I would like it, especially since it's nothing like the trailer.
Absolutely.
But I'm pleasantly surprised. This is something I'm going to remember. I think it's one of the best movies we've seen for this podcast.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree, and I'm sure it'll bring itself back into the conversation when we talk about our favorites of the year.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this was exceptional. So I guess on to the rest of the summer now, because damn, we're having a good time here.
Oh yeah, what's next for us?
F1.
Let's
I
see
think
F1.
is next. It looks great.
Let's do it.
I'm hearing the first reviews are saying it's pretty exceptional, so I'm very excited to see it. So we'll be talking about that within the next week or so, and we got Superman coming out soon. So we're just kind of getting started at the same time.
Let's go, baby.
We got a full summer ahead of us, but
let's do it.
We recommend this movie. Definitely go and check it out. Honestly, I usually wouldn't say this, but I think you've proven that this is a movie that one can still fully enjoy from start to finish, having not seen the last two.
Absolutely.
So there's our endorsement for Danny Boyle's return to the big screen. Go check out 28 Years Later. We loved it here. And as always, this has been the Loose Leaf Media Podcast. My name is Davis Leaf. I did this with my co-host,
Romanus.
And we will see you guys very, very soon.
Bye, guys.
Take care.